Hey farm friends, welcome to Haven Acres. This is Stacy, and I figured that as we are now in mid-July, I would do a garden tour. It has been a super sad garden year as I look around and see my garden full of weeds and underproductive veggies and flowers. I feel I don't know. I don't want to say discouraged because I'm thankful for everything that we have here, but yeah, discouraged is the only word that I'm coming up with. And I especially feel bad for new gardeners because I've been gardening for many, many years and I understand these things happen, and much of gardening is out of our control. But for those who have just started gardening this year or last year, this could make you feel like a failure, and it's not you. This year in Maine, with all of the rain that we've had, has just been a horrible, horrible year. But as always, I try to give the good, the bad, and the ugly of our farm, so we're going to go for it. So here we are. I finally have a sunflower. It's gonna bloom eventually. Look how gnarly the head on the sunflower looks. Isn't that cool? Our cabbage, our brassicas were eaten by slugs at least 3 times. They're finally coming into it. I had to replant 3 times, I guess is what I mean to say. We're finally gonna get some. I've got a little weeding to do in there, but not too bad. I've tried to keep up on it. Nice little heads of cabbage are finally forming. As you can see, they are being eaten. However, we try to use organic methods and principles. We don't try, we do. And so if bugs eat some, well, we just deal with it. I thought that we had lost all of our Brussels sprouts as they were eaten, and I couldn't find any seedlings. I grew all of our starts from seed, and I was so excited. And then when they got eaten, I went and I had to buy some more starts, and I couldn't find any Brussels sprouts. So I was a little disappointed that we weren't going to have any. But when I was weeding the other day, I saw 5 Brussels sprout plants, and I said, "Thank you, Lord." He just knew. So here's one of them, and you can't really see, I don't think, the Brussels coming yet, especially with the bug netting on, but they are coming. We've got some more sunflowers coming. Pretty little zinnia there showing up. Another little zinnia and a sunflower. This is our garlic bed, which is actually doing pretty well. I just cut the scapes off the other day, and probably another 4 weeks before we will be digging garlic. However, it's doing decently. As you can see, there are some brown tips, but I think it's going to be okay. This bed needs to be weeded, and as you can see, there are only 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 summer squash plants that are alive in here. This was all summer squash plants, and literally the slugs have just destroyed them. And again, I have planted seeds more than once in here. Let's see, do we have any baby squash coming yet? No, I see one right there. That is baby squash. I'll be hopeful. Generally, if I do a garden tour, I want all of the beds weeded. I want it to look nice and pretty. But this is my reality this year, and I don't like weeds. I'm not gonna lie. I love wildflowers. We definitely have many wild spaces on this property because we have bees, and I want them to have easy access for forage. So there is a lot that looks pretty wild and jungle-like around here, but I like my garden, I like my vegetable beds to be nice and tidy. I don't like weeds, so the fact that I'm putting this on video just tells you I've waved the white flag this year, and I surrender, and whatever we get is what we get, and frankly, surrender is not a bad place to be. This next bed, you can't even tell what it is. Oh, it's so bad. I'm so embarrassed. What it is, however, this is a leek bed. There's one. But leeks look so much like grass, you just really can't tell. And I don't have great success growing leeks. Not gonna lie, this will maybe be my last year. We'll see. Then we have celery, which I also had to plant 3 times. It's doing pretty well with all of the water that we've had. So this is celery with onions growing right up the middle. You can see some of the onions are kind of curled. That's because I did not have enough hoops at first, and I had made hoops with sticks, and the onions grew taller than the sticks were, so I did have to break down and buy some hoops. But it's looking pretty good. There's some slight yellowing on some, but I can live with that. This is a green bean bed. A very sad looking green bean bed. And again, I planted these 3 times. The rain and the slugs have not been our friends. The potato bed, however, well, this is the potato bed in our little garden. And as you can see, doing pretty well. My little cucumber trellis that I was so excited for, with my pathetic little petunias up there. I was so excited for this cucumber arch, to have the cucumbers grow up. And can you guess? Yes, I planted them 3 times. Once from started plants that I started in the greenhouse, and twice from seed. They're just starting to climb up the trellis, I should say. I've been helping them along. Look at that pathetic little plant with a cucumber. Do you see it? Isn't that so amazing that plants really just want to grow? Plants really just want to fruit. They want to multiply, and even in the bad condition that that plant is in, there's still a cucumber coming. How amazing is creation? This row is a complete hodgepodge mess. It is cabbage, celery, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, more sweet potatoes, and some random broccoli that will be pulled up today or tomorrow because, well, it's just not going to make it. Oh, look. Do you see that little broccoli head? That's it. That's my broccoli. So I am going to pull up that broccoli and utilize it for, I I think I'll put some more sweet potatoes in there. I do have some slips in the greenhouse that I can put out, and I think that's what I'm going to do. This bed is not too bad. It has some Spanish onions, some golden beets, which are coming along. It's taken a long time. As you can see, there are beets there. Beautiful golden beets. They're delicious. We have some red onions. And these are either bull's blood beets or Detroit beets. I don't recall which I planted. Most of the seeds got washed away. And then a few more onions. Last year's onions grew so well. I was so excited for them this year. And the weather has just done a number. This beautiful bed with zinnias is an entire bed of weeds. I've planted beans here, you guessed it, 3 times, and I can see only 3 bean plants. Look at this beautiful bed. Oh, I just pulled up peas yesterday. This bed had peas, and in amongst the peas, I had planted carrots. Well, we might get a few. Here we have another pathetic row of beans. I was weeding yesterday, and I got ingenious and put a little umbrella out here, and I just moved it along with me. Us fair-skinned redheads in the heat, you know. And another row of weeds and a few carrots. Last but not least, another row of cabbage and Brussels sprouts. Maybe we can see the sprouts on that one. They're just forming kind of in the armpits of the leaves. I'm super excited about that. That really brought me a lot of joy to see that we actually had some Brussels sprouts. So, as you can see, it's not really a pretty or fruitful garden this year. But as I've said before, I don't have the garden I want, but I have the garden that I have. And I'm going to continue working it. I'm going to continue to be hopeful. I'm going to continue to be thankful, and lessons learned, I'm sure. Even though most of the devastation in the garden this year was due to the weather, which then brought slugs, which then moved seeds about, which rotted seeds. So all of the devastation really was due to the weather. And there's not a thing I can do about it except learn the lesson that we should be gardening in a variety of ways. In a hoop house, in a greenhouse, in raised beds, in the ground, in containers, every way you can think of. That gives us diversity, and it helps us overcome when the garden season is not a friend. So thank you for joining us today at Haven Acres for our July 2023 garden tour. I hope that your garden season has been fruitful and that you've at least learned some lessons. I hope that you are enjoying your time outside, enjoying friends and family, and I truly thank you for joining us here. Please leave a comment, share. Let me know in the comments, how has your garden season been? I'm truly interested. I'm cheering you on. We'll talk to you soon.